Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to explore what the Arachni-Lobster is. There are creatures you never forget, not because you see them every day, nor because they haunt your recurring nightmares. They stick in your memory due to a poisonous blend of strangeness, lethality, and that visceral terror that bypasses logic and shakes you to your core. And within the oppressive and desolate universe of The Mist, that unsettling, hopeless story born from the mind of Stephen King, there is a creature that embodies all those elements with overwhelming intensity. I'm talking, of course, about the feared and almost legendary Arachni-Lobster, an aberration born from the darkest fusion of grotesque biology and the wildest imagination. But what makes this creature stand out among the already terrifying interdimensional zoo of The Mist isn't just its killing power or overwhelming physical strength. It's the whole package. Its design, its symbolism, the way it enters the story, always lurking, as if it knows the most devastating moment to appear. It's a chilling hybrid, claws reminiscent of the oldest crustaceans from the ocean floor, like it came from a primitive era or a sea from another universe, an attack stance evoking the praying mantis, and a body architecture straight out of a Lovecraftian nightmare, with traits drawn from the most lethal and exotic arachnids. Nothing about its anatomy seems arbitrary. Every physical feature is designed, or rather conceived, to trigger an ancestral reaction in us. Fear, revulsion, helplessness. It's not just a predator. It's a biological warning that we're out of place, that we've crossed a threshold we were never meant to touch. In the novella, King introduces only a single specimen of this creature. It's not common. It doesn't appear in every chapter or wander the supermarket like some of the more visible threats. But when it strikes, it does so with such sudden and devastating brutality that its impact lingers, even in the scenes where it's not present. Its shadow is felt. Its memory remains. We first encounter it at one of the tensest moments in the story. The survivors, trapped in the supermarket alongside David Drayton and his son Billy, are beginning to crack psychologically. The mist, that impenetrable white wall, hides unspeakable secrets. And one of those secrets manifests violently when a few characters try to explore the surroundings. That's where this creature, this symbol of punishment for probing where we shouldn't, makes its appearance. But before diving into its behavior or its impossible biology, we need to take a step back. Because, as with any good horror story, the most disturbing part isn't the monster itself. It's what brought it here. And in this case, the true horror isn't supernatural, but entirely human. It all begins with Project Arrowhead, a clandestine military operation developed at a secret base near the fictional town of Brickton, Maine. The goal, as ambitious as it was reckless, to break dimensional barriers, to explore what exists beyond our reality. But as is often the case, when human pride meets scientific ignorance, everything went terribly wrong. A lightning storm caused a system failure. The portal, a kind of interdimensional rift known as the Thinnie, was opened, and what came out wasn't knowledge or progress or a promising future. What emerged was the mist, a living mist, thick, silent, filled with monstrous shapes and natural laws that do not belong to us. From that mist, indescribable beasts emerged. Some floated, others crawled, others simply drifted through the sky as if searching for prey on the ground. But the Arachni-Lobster quickly stood out as one of the most lethal, not just for its size or strength, but for the coldness of its behavior. It settled near King's Pharmacy and the Food House Supermarket, two of the last bastions of sanity in a collapsing town. Its first major scene comes when David, Billy, and a small group decide to risk everything and flee the supermarket in a pickup truck. It's a moment of desperation, of blind faith. And right then, when Ollie, one of the bravest characters, opens the door to climb in, the creature attacks. One instant, one movement, and Ollie is sliced in two by a claw sharper than any human weapon. Blood splatters the windshield. His body vanishes into the mist, and the truck falls silent, hovering between disbelief and absolute terror. Before that, another group, led by the skeptical Brent Norton, leaves convinced that it's all mass hysteria, that there are no monsters, that it's all a product of fear. But the mist spares no unbelievers. David watches as they vanish into the dense fog and hears the screams. He doesn't see them die, but he glimpses a monstrous silhouette, like a giant red lobster, with dull eyes the size of swollen grapes, and a body structure that resembles a scorpion from another world. It's not stated outright, but everything suggests it was the Arachni-Lobster that tore them apart. The 2007 film adaptation, directed by Frank Darabont, reinforces this visual impact. Although the creature doesn't get many scenes, each one is loaded with pure tension. In one, when the men tie a rope to the waist of a volunteer to prove that there's nothing out there, the rope's sudden tension and pull give way to an image no one can ignore. The body returns cut in half. Blood covers the floor. And the lesson is clear. Out there is something that cannot be defeated. Later on, after attacks from other creatures like the terra buzzards, those fast, brutal birds, and the scorpion flies, the Arachni-Lobster returns. And this time, it doesn't come to kill, but to collect what it left behind. It drags, with one of its claws, the rope tied to the severed legs of a victim. It's not just brutal, it's meticulous. It holds grudges. It remembers. One especially brutal scene is the sacrifice of young soldier Jessup, targeted by the fanatical Mrs. Carmody as the one responsible for the disaster. He is stabbed by the crowd and thrown into the mist as an offering. The creature doesn't take long to appear. It splits him in half without remorse and vanishes with him in seconds. It's as if it understands the language of blood, as if it knew that body was meant for it. And to top it all off, in the story's climax, when David and the others try to escape, the beast makes its final grand appearance. The moment Ollie opens the truck door, the creature strikes again. There's no time to scream. Just a snap, a slice, a spray of blood, and the dull sound of a split body being dragged back into the mist. Now that we've unmasked the hidden origin of the terrifying Arachni-Lobster in the mist, exploring both its disturbing appearance in Stephen King's novella and its visual depiction in Frank Darabont's film adaptation, it's time to dive even deeper into this nightmare creature. Let's explore its body, its behavior, and how it was brought to life through visual effects and design decisions that aim not only to frighten, but to leave a lasting mark on the viewer's psyche. From its first mention in the original text, the creature is already perceived as a biological anomaly, a mistake of nature or worse, the result of an evolutionary logic that was never meant to touch our reality. Stephen King, true to his style, avoids surgical descriptions. He prefers brushstrokes. He suggests hints. He lets the reader's mind fill in the blanks with their own fears. But what he does make clear is that this creature is massive. Its presence is physical, oppressive. It is a reddish being, in a hue that recalls the boiled red of a cooked lobster, but magnified in scale and deformed into something grotesque. Its lower body is an amalgam between arachnid and scorpion, with multiple limbs that allow it to move with unexpected speed for its size. Its upper half, by contrast, appears to be a fusion of crustacean and alien monster, with an exoskeleton so robust that no conventional weapon could easily penetrate it. And although the novella doesn't say it directly, everything in its behavior suggests this creature is an apex predator. It doesn't need a pack. It doesn't need an ambush. It hunts alone, because it can. In the 2007 film, Darabont and his design team chose not to show it fully from the start, instead letting the mist wrap around it like a second skin. This not only helps maintain tension, but also transforms it into an extension of the environment itself. The mist isn't just the setting, it's part of the monster. A sensory trap that plays with what you see and what you think you saw. Through concept art and production sketches, we know that the Arachni-Lobster was conceived as a creature with segmented skin, full of contrasting textures. In some areas, its flesh is exposed, soft, pulsating, as if it had just been born. In others, hard plates cover it like military armor, shielding it from the hostile environment and any possible threats. Its body is supported by 6 long, thin legs, like those of a giant insect, ending in blade-like tips. Its torso curves forward, giving it a permanent stalking posture, as if it's always ready to strike. Its pincers aren't just tools for grabbing, they're weapons of war. They close with the force of a hydraulic press, and can slice a human in two effortlessly, as we've seen multiple times throughout the story. And its head is the most unsettling feature, elongated, expressionless, with a jaw that opens far beyond the natural, revealing a mouth full of needle-like fangs. These aren't teeth meant for chewing, they're tools for tearing, perfect for ripping and devouring. This head, according to some sketches, doesn't grow directly from the torso, but from a sort of bony hump that elevates it, making it appear even more unnatural, as if the creature is always watching from a higher vantage, as if it sees from another logic entirely. As for its coloration, the film opts for darker tones, likely to better match the opaque atmosphere of the mist. While the book describes it with an intense red hue, on screen it appears closer to a deep crimson, almost black, with metallic sheens that reveal its shape only briefly, when the supermarket's dim lights or the vehicle's headlights catch it by chance. Now, let's go beyond the visual, because this creature doesn't just impress with its looks. Its behavior reveals an instinctive intelligence that makes it something more than just a simple monster. The Arachni-Lobster acts like a silent hunter. It doesn't launch attacks without reason. It waits. It evaluates. It chooses. Its behavior isn't erratic, but methodical. It strikes when it detects movement or human presence, and when it does, it's with surgical precision. It doesn't toy with its prey. It eliminates it quickly, then it drags the body back into the mist. No spectacle, no unnecessary cruelty, just efficiency, as if each attack follows a protocol, a hunting routine perfected over millennia in another world. Its hunting pattern also suggests territoriality. It doesn't roam aimlessly for victims. It settles in a zone, like the area between the pharmacy and the supermarket, and dominates it. Only when that area is empty or no longer provides food does it move on. This is clearly seen when it devours the soldier Jessup. After feeding, it doesn't return until the 3rd day, just as David and his group attempt to escape, as if its metabolism requires rest between hunts, or as if it knows it's better to remain hidden to survive in an environment where other equally deadly creatures roam freely. And how does something like this hunt in such dense mist? This is where fan theories come into play. While smell seems to be its primary sense, it's also been suggested that it might possess thermal vision or echolocation. Some even compare its growls to the clicks of a bat, implying that it could be measuring distances or detecting movement through sound waves. Imagine a 10-meter-tall creature that can see you even when you're completely still, that can smell you even in silence, that can detect you even if you emit no heat. It's the perfect nightmare. In the hierarchy of horrors that inhabit the mist, the Arachni-Lobster holds a prominent place. It's only surpassed in size by the behemoth, that colossal abomination that walks among the mountains, whose tentacles seem to eclipse the sky. But unlike the behemoth, which feels more like a force of nature, the Arachni-Lobster is personal. It's close. It's the threat that might be waiting around the corner or behind the fogged-up glass of your car. The creature's final fate is left implicit. When the military arrives, the supermarket is under control and the mist begins to clear. Everything suggests the creatures were eliminated by fire, weapons, and military technology, or at least contained. But the disturbing part isn't that they were defeated, it's that we never knew how many there were. Was there only one? Or were there more? What if some escaped? What if they learned? And finally, there's a theory that expands this horror beyond the mist. An idea that connects the invisible threads of Stephen King's multiverse. Some readers believe the Arachni-Lobster is not a standalone being, but the adult form of the lobstrosities, those deformed creatures that appear in the Dark Tower 2, the drawing of the three. Both species share characteristics: powerful claws, violent behavior, lack of human language, and an origin that points to Ta-space, that in-between dimension where everything is possible and nothing is safe. If this theory is true, and many clues suggest that it is, then the mist wasn't an accident. It was a tear in the fabric of the multiverse, and what came through it is only the beginning.